Hi, this is JP Newman on Investing on Purpose, and today we're going to answer the questions you keep asking me. JP, in this crazy world with all this instability and wars and politics and elections, how do I invest and what do you see for the next 1 to 5 years? Where are the opportunities? In this episode, Adrian and I are going to go really deep with you and take you through not the next 6 months, but more importantly, the next 5 years, where you can find opportunities, how to allocate your portfolio, how your mindset, optimistic or pessimistic, might affect your approach in terms of how to invest and what areas we think are going to be best. We hope you enjoy the show. And just remember, this is not investment advice. These are just two people who nerd out, who love talking about this stuff and have been doing it for many years. I hope you enjoy the episode. Adrian, I have some questions that have been coming in from certain people from the audience. And, it's a crazy time right now. We've got, let's say, a little bit of politics in America. We've got geopolitical. We have one day the stock market is way up and people are feeling more confident. My crypto's looking really good one day and then it just falls in the toilet the next day. There's a lot of, we all know there's a lot of volatility. But then a lot of people are saying, JP, what comes after the volatility? What do you think this looks like? And I'd love Adrian to throw that. I have my own opinion, but I'd love to hear your opinion. What does this look like when it all settles down? Are you optimistic? Or are you pessimistic, and how are you going to play the game?
This is, I think, my 5th downturn.
You're that old? Oh my gosh.
In investments.
Yeah.
As a trader, a day trader, I did it for 10 years. I started to learn a lot about economies and sentiment. It's all about sentiment. And two things move markets: fear and greed.
Yep.
You can get very technical, whether it's earnings, whether it's occupancies, whether it's demand for oil. All of what we do is trade commodities.
Right. Whether it's apartments, oil or crypto.
Oil, it doesn't matter.
Right.
It's sentiment. When people are afraid they're going to miss out,
they get greedy.
And what happens? The market shoots
goes
up.
Yeah.
And when people are panicked that the world's coming to an end, they sell. Well, guess what? The world's not coming to an end. We will survive this. I see it more as opportunity, because when things get too expensive, people can't buy. So you need a little sale.
Right.
Nordstrom's does it.
I love that.
Right. And so when prices get ahead of real values, we get a reset.
Which I've been doing for years because interest rates were so low. We had free money. We had free money for over 10 years.
It's
incredible.
Not normal. Yeah. Average interest rates are somewhere between 5.25-ish, right? They don't need to be at 6.5, but they definitely don't need to be at 3. Right. So we're getting a reset, and it's scary. I would be lying if I said last year there weren't times where I was like, oh, goodness. Are we going to survive this? But you can't fall in those doldrums. Mistakes have been made, and you don't get the do-over. The do-overs are expensive. We know. We've had them.
Yeah.
But all of this creates new opportunity. The election throws a little bit of a wrench in things because we are in the middle of a downturn. Typically, if people don't know, and people, traders, investors, whether it's real estate, oil, stocks, whatever it is, pause because they don't know, first, what party is going to control the government, and 2, they want to see or understand how they're going to navigate the next 4 years.
Can I challenge you on something? I was telling this to a couple of my friends who politically look different than me. I would argue that whoever wins this election in November, that the business outcome for the next 4 years, the outlook will not be that different. And I'll tell you why. Because America has a great way of basically blocking things. And
I would agree.
I think if the Republicans win, great, very pro-business, very, very high energy, pro-business policies, and that's great. I actually think if the Democrats win, because it's a Republican-controlled Congress and Senate, you're mostly going to get what you had with Biden, and you're going to get a lot of blocking, which just means it's business as usual.
That's right.
So
I would agree.
My conclusion is you can wait, and it makes you feel better, but I think you're going to wind up basically in the same spot of we've been through basically inflation. We've been through a reduction of the prices of equities. And I think we wind up in the same spot no matter whether the blue party or the red party wins.
Now, I would say for real estate, I think the fundamentals have never continued to look so good.
Yeah.
Home prices are still high. Cost of living is high. People need a place to live. And you've said it many a times, we have such a deficit of affordable housing, not subsidized, but affordable, that for the next 10 years, I think it's going to be a great place to be. And if you want to say we're pretty lucky that we're in Texas, I'll take it, because we're continuing to see outflows from both coasts and people moving to Texas. We're seeing it rotate. Austin was the darling. Now we're starting to see San Antonio a little bit, Houston a little bit. Then it's going to be Dallas. Then it's going to come back to Austin. People just want to live here.
Okay, Adrian, you ready? I'm going to challenge you. Ready? Here's a question I want you to answer. If you're a listener in the audience and you've got some money, let's just say you've got somewhere between 250 and 10 million to invest, and you're looking at crypto and you're probably in stocks and you've got some real estate and you got some oil and gas. How do you play the game? With what's coming up and what your advice, how do you play the game? Let's just say someone's got $1 million to place right now. How do you place it, Adrian?
I've traded everything. I've traded so many different commodities. I still go back to multifamily. And the sole reason is demand for oil goes up and goes down. Inventories, it starts to get a little complicated. The economy, the market is typically 3 to 5 months ahead of where the economy is. Multifamily is where people live. Yeah. They need a place, they need a roof over their head. So if you provide a good environment where they're really happy living there, they're going to stay a long time. 2 things that you get with multifamily: cash flow and depreciation. Depreciation, we don't get a lot of tax benefit in today's day and age.
Right.
It's still there. So you really want to look at supply and demand, and that's where you want to put your money.
Okay, so I'm going to still pin you one more down further. $1 million, it's someone listening to this. Do they put it all in multifamily, or how do you split it up for someone? Let's say it's someone who's just a general investor. They have $1 million to spend, which is a lot, by the way.
It is.
They got $1 million. How do you place it? How much in multifamily and how much in other things would you?
That depends a lot on what else they have in their portfolio.
Let's just say it's a blank portfolio.
Blank portfolio.
How do you start?
I would probably put around 3/4 of that in multifamily.
Okay, that's great. So you're that bullish. That's
I do think public markets have their place.
Yeah.
I wouldn't start trying to pick a NVIDIA or a Google or anything like that. Just buy some S&Ps or buy the Qs. You get the whole package, and over time, the markets are going to do well. Crypto, that's a personal thing.
Right.
You and I have some, but it is volatile as all get out. We're not trading it. We're looking at it for the long term. That makes sense to me.
Yeah, I agree. I think for me, I probably would answer the question maybe 500,000 multifamily, and just because I'd like to diversify a little more. I probably would look at, like, you and I have been very successful. We've had some great people with oil and gas leases. Exploration's obviously a lot riskier, but I think a little bit, and I'm Mr. Green, so like I am the one here who's like, but I do think it's going to take a while to transfer, and I think that I think you can actually starting to invest and make money actually in green technology, in wind, where it's becoming affordable. But I still think an oil and gas may have maybe has a place. Yeah. Another hard assets in real estate, but I do like real estate too. I think for a lot of people, if you're really just new, sometimes just buying a duplex right now, you're just beginning to start to see cash flow. If you buy it right, there's a couple foreclosures hitting. I just had one of our mutual friends just bought a duplex. And for the first time, it's a duplex. He fixed it up and he's making about $1,900 of positive cash flow in his first 90 days. And I'm not, Adrian,
that's great.
I have not heard of positive cash flow in about 5 years in Austin, Texas, or these Texas markets. So overall, guys, I think you're hearing Adrian and I say we're bullish. I think be smart, be patient. But I think if you look at,
to add to what JP said, I don't think now's the time to be speculative.
No, there's
Right?
no.
It's not the right time in the cycle. The cycles are repetitive. 2 years of a down cycle, somewhere between 6 and 8 years of the up cycle. That it happens again and again and again. When we're in that up cycle, that's when you can get a little more speculative because the market helps make up for some mistakes. I don't think right now makes sense to be speculative.
And by the way, on that speculative, so many people are offering me like Series A and Series B. 8 years, it's going to be the greatest company. It's AI. It's going to like measure your nose and it's going to do all these things. And I'm like, no, thank you right now because there's no reason to.
No reason to take
There's
it.
things that, right now,
Risk.
Adrian, we're about to do. I haven't told you. We're about to do another. Besides our debt fund, I look at debt funds out there, and the ones that are healthy right now are paying 10%. Treasuries are still at 4.5% or what have you. There's lots to do. Keep your cash. Keep smiling.
Patience.
And I'm going to tell you one more thing, I think, just to end with on an optimistic note. I know if you watch the news every day, the Crisis News Network or Fox or whatever you're watching, it looks like we're totally screwed.
Yeah.
Guess what, guys? I don't believe we're totally screwed. I think that we always want to fight for democracy. I don't see AI coming out of China as far as like innovating new technologies. I don't see anything really new and fresh. And I think that all these new technologies will exponentially create new industries. I don't think we're going to fall apart and all become mothballs with nothing to do. I think we're going to have to rally and get educated. And the last thing I've heard, which makes me laugh, Adrian, they said, you think about America, like Europe's been around for what, 2,000, 3,000 years, like all these countries. We are 250 years old or something like that. We're kind of like insecure teenagers. like we don't even know our greatness. Like we're full of energy, we're super smart, we're super creative, but we're really insecure. Like, oh my God, this time in the 60s, they thought America was over. This is 60s. And we're never going to get past Vietnam. We are screwed. In the 70s, all the riots in the streets for women's rights and, civil rights advance. We're screwed. We're going to change it. I mean, we can go on and on and on. And then there was Monica Lewinsky, but that's a whole other story. But the point is, I think if you look at history and if you can kind of get your head out of the news lines a little bit and look at the big picture, I still think America is the greatest place on earth. I think it'll continue to be. I think the only thing you really have to look at is let's keep rule of law so that when we do contracts for real estate or crypto or whatever you're doing, that there's a high degree of confidence from the world that will happen. You and I just did actually we were sellers on a deal that fell through because the buyers were from China and they were afraid to take their money out of the Chinese banks right now because China is on high alert where you can get dinged by the government for moving your money. Think about that, guys. Dinged from the government forever, out of business if the government doesn't like a transfer. And you'll never know. It could take a year or two, but you live under that fear. That is a very different system than the system we have in America, where our bankers will let us take anything we want as long as we pay them back.
If you go to foreign investors and ask them what are the top 3 markets you feel most comfortable with, the U.S. is by far and away number 1 more often than not.
Reach out to us with any questions, guys. Be smart with your money.
Be patient.
Be patient, but
opportunities are coming.
They're here, I would say. Just start looking right now. Pick your plan. Adrian says 3/4 multifamily. I'm saying 50%, but I think either way you win. And
we'll split that in the middle, 5/8.
Yes, and reach out to us with any questions. Thanks for listening.